Welcome to the Standpoint. Is that month where we focus on the healing process. Remember, 2016, the theme for the Standpoint is the responsible woman. Yes, we are taking charge of our lives, not waiting for anybody to come our way or to do it for us. We need to do it for ourselves, with help, of course, if we can get it. And when we look for it, and if we look for it, we will put ourselves together and become a responsible woman. Anyway, have you put your 1 Ghana cedi or more in the Girl in Need Foundation box at a bank near you? Please, if you haven't, please help us help girls who find themselves in abusive environments, or because they need money to pay their school fees, to learn a trade or a skill. We have our boxes across the country at all ADB branches. And in Tema and Accra, we have it at the Ghana Commercial Bank and NIB banks across Tema and Accra. If you have a place or a joint or a sport or a supermarket that you want us to bring our box, please give us the opportunity to help girls. Now, talking about abuse, we've talked about abuse on this program over and over again. We've heard the stories of survivors. We've talked about even why some perpetrators. One of the programs we did, why do men abuse women? Why do men cheat on women? We have so many of such topics discussed on the Standpoint. But today, we are taking a different dimension. We are going to look at the recovery process, the road to recovery after abuse. How do you put yourself together? How do you build your self-confidence? How do you take charge of your life despite all that you've been through in terms of abuse, and move on with your life? My name is Ohineyuri Gifty Auntie, and this is the Standpoint. We take a short break. When we come back, we are going to walk through or walk along that road that will take us to recovery. This is the Standpoint. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hush, my little baby.
For babies' tummy pains, minor digestive upsets, or teething, caring mothers everywhere use Auntie Mary's Baby Gripe Mixture. It's quick, effective, and sure to leave babies smiling again in no time. Auntie Mary's Baby Gripe Mixture from Ernest Chemist, because everyone needs a chemist.
Welcome back to the Standpoint. Today, we are going to walk along the road to recovery after abuse. How do you put yourselves back together? Whatever you've been through, whatever it is that has happened to you in terms of abuse. And I have with me in the studio student from the University of Education, Winneba, and student from the University of Ghana City Campus. You know, the Standpoint is sponsored by Ernest Chemist. They produce Auntie Mary Gripe Water and Nescafe Blood Tonic. Anointed Electrical Engineering Services, the generator expert, also sponsor us. And we are supported by Gogot Yogurt and Pilco Fruit Juices. They produce the daily fruit juices. Water is by Casapreco Company Limited, and it's known as Awake Purified Water. Now back to business. The road to recovery after abuse. And seated right opposite me is Irene Aborchie-Nyahe. She's the Director, Legal Assistance Network Ghana. Good to have you back on the Standpoint.
Thank you very much.
Next to Irene, I have Adolph Ewuku Bekwin, who's a clinical psychologist and activist. Welcome back to the Standpoint.
Thank you for having me.
It's been like 2 years. And for the first time on the Standpoint, my baby sister, she is Nita Ramakut, student Accra Polytechnic. Welcome to the Standpoint.
Thank you. It's an honor.
How are you?
I'm fine.
What are you studying at Accra Poly?
I'm studying HND in Science Laboratory Technology.
Okay.
Yeah.
How are you?
Fine, very fine. I'm marvelous. I'm great. Yes.
The last time we met, you hadn't still recovered. You were just wondering if you want to get into a relationship again.
Gift is difficult. The reason is that your ex no longer becomes your standard. Okay. And you have a new standard. And in having a new standard, it means that there are certain things you look out for. Okay. And one of the things you look out for in your new standards are traits of your ex-husband, like your ex. Okay. So if I meet someone and the person begins to exhibit traits of my ex, then I would want to pull back, because there were similar signs that I had ignored when I was with my ex-husband. And so for me to not see exactly those signs, but just traits of his characteristics, then I don't think I would want to go through it. And also because I think over the period I wasn't ready. And so in an attempt to try dating, I made a lot of mistakes because I wasn't meeting the kind of men I wanted in my life. I guess, as I said earlier, because I wasn't ready, really I wasn't ready. And also I think it's because I was desperate.
Did you get into those relationships because you were desperate?
Yeah, I think so. I was desperate. Now I realize that then it was because I was desperate for love. I was desperate for attention. I was desperate to have somebody in my life, and also because I was lonely. I felt very, very lonely. But
how long has it been since you left that marriage?
Okay,
since you were thrown out.
I guess November this year will be 10 years.
Will be 10 years.
Yeah.
I know. Listening to the story of what she thinks is the process of healing, and she feels that she's healed. What do you make of it?
Well, I don't think I heard she said she's healed. But she admitted making some mistakes, which is okay when you have just exited an abusive relationship. An exit of an abusive relationship does not necessarily mean you have recovered. And we need to draw that line. Yeah. Once you have exited an abusive relationship, then the journey to recovery begins.
Right.
Sometimes we confuse the two that, once I have really left, then everything is okay. I'm no longer in an abusive relationship. But the scars from the abuse are with you. And so there is a process that you have to go through after exiting abusive relationship. Now, the first process or the first phase is to look at safety issues. Now, safety not only in terms of whether you are secured, but in terms of your body. What injuries have you suffered from the relationship? You need to go through healing physically from there, and also emotional healing. So the first few months of exiting a relationship is to look for stability, stabilizing, looking for safety, making sure you go for thorough checkup, making sure you are stable, making sure all these things around you okay, that is the first phase. Okay. Establishing safety, establishing some stability in your life.
I'll come back to you to look at how you do that. But Irene, Madam Lawyer, why is it so difficult to get issues of abuse tried in court? Because most women spend a lot of their lives waiting for justice to be given to them before they move on.
I wish I have all the answers to that question. I go through on a daily basis. I take up cases for people, trying very hard to make them get justice. In some cases we succeed, but in some it's difficult, especially when you don't have control. For example, somebody who suffers domestic abuse, the state institution mandated to take care of domestic violence is the police, specifically the DOFSU. And you don't have control because it's a crime and they have the structures. So sometimes you'll be pursuing the matter and there are obstacles. Now, I want to say that we shouldn't lose hope. We should not lose hope just because the system doesn't seem to be working. Here you are, a woman, when you are coming up, you don't have enough resources because the structures of our society does not regard you as the breadwinner. So if there's a limited resource in the home for education or for developing the individual, the option is given to the men. And now you have reached a stage, you've been groomed all of your life, that go and marry. So then you arrive that, oh, you will do everything to make sure that you are married. In fact, if you're not married, you will be insulted as if you have committed a crime. Now you have arrived. I am married, I have arrived.
You become complete.
Now, there you are. Most of the cases we receive, the man will say, stop working. We have a constitutional right to work. But society says, go and marry, and you enter there, say, stop working. That's the first instruction. Then the woman, having the desire to let society appreciate her, will force to remain in the marriage and agree. So even she has no source of income. Then she turns on to the husband, oh, give me money. And then she's attacked as a gold digger. You are useless. What can you do? And then the slapping and the beating starts. Now she escapes from the abuse. That is when she even realizes that she needs to escape finally, because it's not easy. Right. They want to stay there so that society will say that, oh, she is married.
Right.
Now, the few who gather the courage to escape, then they also face injustice number 2, where the structures that we have. If you run away from your home, where will you go? We don't have shelters. Now you go to a lawyer, you will at least be asked to pay consultation fee and the filing fees and all kinds of fees. Remember, you are not working because you've been told not to work. Where will you seek the justice from? In fact, they tell them, most of the cases, my husband said, look, me, I have money. Yeah. So it's the person who has the money who will win the case. So you're wasting your time. This is real. Every day we meet it. So most of them just give up. Those who cannot give up and they get traumatized, then they become a psychiatric problem. Then
Nita,
they are in a psychiatric hospital.
Were you working at the time?
Yes, at the time, before I got married, when we were dating, I was working. And then when we got married, he didn't directly tell me to stop working, because even till now he denies he ever said that. But you know, indirectly, if your spouse is always picking quarrels with you because you are receiving calls and all that, and it becomes a constant issue. And at the time, the kind of work that I was doing was very customer service based, because I was working with a satellite dish company at the time, and we provided satellite TV and satellite internet. And as part of my responsibilities, you know, at work, I am to offer kind of a 24-hour service, because I was also trained in a way to solve some technical issues on the phone with my clients.
So when they call you, you can tell them that do this to try that.
Of course. And so if my client is calling me, say about 11 p.m., 12 midnight, I am compelled to pick the call and answer. And I suppose that
when he knew that this was the job you were doing.
Because he had even visited me at work, so he knew what I was doing. But then it would always be an issue, you know. And anytime I received a call, to, of course, he heard me taking my clients through, you know, the basic things they had to do. And sometimes, if my clients were not able to get it fixed, I had to leave home like 5 a.m. so that I can get to my clients at 6 a.m. Make sure that I get it fixed before he leaves for work, you know. And if I can't fix it, then I go to the office and get a technician to go fix it at site. And it was always an issue, you know. So it got to a point I stopped. I mean, he had even smashed my phone before, you know. So it got to a point I stopped answering the calls, and it was dissatisfying my customers. So finally, at a point, I said, look, it's two things. I mean, I can't stand the insults, the verbal abuse and all that. It's two things, either to quit work or to always fight, you know. And I chose not to fight. I think I was tired of the fight, so I had to quit work.
You had to quit work.
After all that, the marriage was annulled the following year, you know, so
That's a year after he threw you out?
yes. If I say a year, it's not like really a year, but I think if it happened, let's say in November, exactly, something like that.
Okay. You still have to go through surgery?
Yes, for my wrist.
Okay. and your eyes, you're wearing spectacles because of the abuse?
Genetically, my father has an eye problem, so I picked that up. And some years back, my ex-husband's female friends, one of them put pepper in my eyes. And I couldn't see for 2 days. And when I couldn't see, I had to compel my ex-husband at the time to take me to the hospital. So it took him 2 days to actually take me to the hospital and
the wrist
and all that. The wrist, he twisted my wrist. That one also took 2 days because I was in severe pain. There was nothing I could do.
So 2 days before he took you to the hospital?
And I insisted, and he accompanied me to the hospital.
Why couldn't you go to the hospital yourself? Was it financial issues?
Oh, no, I was working at the time. I hadn't stopped working.
So why didn't you go yourself? You had to wait for him to take you?
I want to say something very quickly because there's a misinformation out there that when you marry under the traditional rules, you cannot go to court. You can dissolve your traditional marriages in court. It's very important, and I'll urge every woman to do that because if you do it in the house, it only takes 500 Ghana cedis and the 2 bottles of schnapps. But when you go to court, all the properties that you have acquired during the marriage will be shared equally between the two of you. So if you marry under the traditional rules, doesn't mean you shouldn't go to court and go and dissolve it. The court is the best place for you. That's what I want to say. Because
Nita, quite interesting stories, but one thing from my ordinary mind, I think she's still trying very hard to protect the ex-husband.
No, I'm not.
That is something that when you go through abuse, when you go or you have traumatic experience, what it does to you is to undermine your sense of agency, and control. You literally surrender all these things to the perpetrator. And even the pursuit of justice is so that you can, in a way, get some compensation from the perpetrator. For me, in terms of recovery, the pursuit of justice just facilitates healing. It does not eventuate in healing.
Okay.
Your healing does not depend on how much compensation you get from the perpetrator. In fact, the pursuit of that even still tells me that you still hold the perpetrator in such a high esteem that without his permission, you are not prepared to recover. So we must look at that because it is very important that the context we are healing is acknowledged. Now, going to court, I don't have a problem going to court. But we must draw a distinction between whether going to court in the pursuit of criminal end, that is retributive justice, really helps our kind of victims, our survivors. You know, healing, you don't need anybody's permission. You don't need any court ruling to heal. In fact, the best of court rulings just facilitate your healing. They do not give you healing.
They only facilitate.
They only facilitate. It makes you feel good. But there are many people who have got everything they want from court and still just descend into very deep depression because they haven't really made use of themselves. They haven't really reconnected themselves. Because what trauma does, what abusive relationship does, is to disconnect you not only from your source of support, but from yourself. You no longer know who you are. And especially where you have signed off everything, you are discovering yourself through another person. And for some women, once they get married, who they are completely vanishes. They find meaning, validation, fulfillment, and all that through their new identity. And so when that identity is no longer there, they literally cease to live. Recovery is beginning to identify, beginning to reconnect to who you are. And for me, the good news is that if you don't have anybody else in the world, you have yourself.
Yeah.
And connecting with yourself is the beginning of true recovery.
Right. Connecting with yourself is the beginning of true recovery. Let me take a break here, and when we come back, we'll continue. Is it really even advisable, let's say, starting from the moment that you're walking out? I believe that walking out is part of the road to recovery, knowing that this is not good enough. I have to walk out. But even the steps you take to walk out. This is The Standpoint. The Standpoint is supported by GTP New Style. My dress is sewn by Ophelia Crossland Designed, and makeup by Paba Cosmetics. Makeup applied by Aligina Makeover. And of course, my accessories, my beads, Ahinma, and everything by Matilda Hood Couture. We'll be back.
Class, this is Nescofa. Today our topic is anemia. Anemia is a medical condition where there is lack of iron in the blood. Symptoms may include headaches, weakness, loss of appetite, and tiredness.
Nescafe Blood Tonic is fortified with iron, prevents and treats anemia, and ensures good health. Another quality product from NS Chemists.
Welcome back to The Standpoint. This program is also aired on ABN TV on Sky Channel 235, which is across Western Europe, parts of Canada, Asia, and North Africa. Our website, www.thestandpoint.com.gh, is powered by Dream Oval. The program is sponsored by NS Chemists, producers of Anti-Mary Gripe Water and Nescofa Blood Tonic, and Anointed Electrical Engineering Services, the generator expert. Thank you to Cake Technique for our refreshment, and of course, Go-Got Yogurt and Daily Juices, produced by Pilco Company Limited. Water is by Casapreco Company Limited. That is Awake Purified Mineral Water. Irene.
No woman should just jump out of her matrimonial home out of anger and said, I am going. Plan your exit, and plan it very, very well, to the extent that even the day you are leaving, you'll be in a very good mood and everybody will be happy. Plan your exit. If you jump out of anger and then snatch a handbag and leave, you will then quickly realize that all the things you need to probably facilitate your recovery, as he is trying to suggest, you've left them all behind. All your marriage certificates, all the documents concerning your properties, and all the necessary things that you need to prove to the court, the status of the relationship, so that the judge is not God. You need to prove and give some document to even ascertain the status of the perpetrator or the person you are leaving. So that based upon those documents, the judge can then order that, okay, take this, take that. They jump out of the matrimonial homes, and then they will come to you empty-handed and be asking you to perform magic, to know the financial status of the man, and tell the court that I want this, I want that, when they have nothing for it to give you to go and prove that this is the financial status of their spouses. So they should plan their exits.
But is it true that if you file for the divorce first, you have to
pay the man? It is not
compensate
true.
the man?
It is not true. I want to say it's loud out there. It is not true. I met a lot of women who said, I wanted to go through the process. They said, if I file the divorce, I will have to pay him. And even some of the perpetrators, they assist with the misinformation. If you go first, you will pay me. Then they sit there. It is not true. It is not the person who files for divorce. It's the person that pays alimony. No, that is not what happens. It depends on the circumstance of the case. And most of the time, because of the history we have, it is the men that settle, even traditionally. So they traditionally settle. the women. So it is not true that when you go and file for divorce, you will be the person that will pay alimony.
How was the road to recovery for you?
Oh, 2 years of, I wouldn't say drunkenness, in sobriety. Let me put it that way. Yes. 2
Speak
years.
English, la.
2 years.
2 years of drinking.
I'm telling you, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, standard. 2 years. 2 years.
Why?
Constantly. I lost it all. I lost it all. I lost it all. I went into the marriage with something. I came out with nothing. And I wasn't one of the privileged young ladies. I mean, I was privileged to have good quality education, but I wasn't really privileged to have my education wasn't luxury. It was a necessity because my parents were educated. So I had to see myself through school. And so at the age of 18, I had planned my life. I had started my life. So I worked very early. I started working when I was 18, got married when I was 20. And so I had this plan for my life. And then he came in and, I tried to fuse our plans together. Yeah. And so having started as a teenager, consciously putting myself through a process, to get to where I want to get to. And just one decision of getting married just strips me of everything that I had worked for. And I had to start life all over again. I was lost. I was really, really lost. And because my mom has been sick, my mom was sick when I was quite younger. So from the age of 15, I was taking care of her. And so my mom was not in a position, even at that time, my mom was not in a position to give me the support that I needed, whether emotionally, psychologically, or financially, because I was her breadwinner.
Right.
And for my
an
father,
only child?
yes, for my mom, I'm an only child.
Okay.
For my father, the least said about him, the better. So I had lost so much. It was.
So you didn't have any support when you came out? You were trying to be on your own and do things by yourself?
I had to start life all over again, Initially, I had a few friends that I was socializing with who would support, financially here and there. But
because at that time you had stopped work.
Yes. So, but then in terms of the actual support system, it wasn't there. So I was my support system, and also I was my mom's support system. And
a lot of pressure.
Yes, and I had a sick.
So how did you move from the moment of insobriety?
Yes.
To how did you snap out of it? And
I didn't snap out of it. If I said I snapped out of it, I would be telling you I didn't snap out of it. It was a process. I was making, you see, it's like phases. So it got to a point where
did you get suicidal at a point?
Oh yes. It got, but the time I was suicidal, I wasn't drinking.
Okay.
Yes. So alcohol was my comfort, And people say that, people would say alcohol will not solve your problem. Mm-hmm. Yes, alcohol will not solve my problem, but I need to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I need to sleep. I've had insomnia for more than 2 years. For goodness sake, I need to sleep. So if indulging in alcohol is what would give me that 2 hours sleep, it was so bad that I couldn't sleep.
So
for
the
a stretch of
alcohol was
up to
not
3.
even giving you 6 hours sleep. It was giving you 2 hours sleep.
Yes, because Gifty, I could be awake for 48 hours without sleeping. So that's 2 hours of sleep that I get from being highly intoxicated on alcohol. Was enough
and
for
then
me.
rough up our life.
Was enough for me.
Right.
I needed it, and I was never sober. Okay. But here's the thing. It was just this one Sunday that I went to church. And I had closed from church. I was on my way home. And then I just realized that I hadn't made peace with myself because I hadn't forgiven him. And I hadn't forgiven myself. So I was in the church and I was just thinking, why can't I just forgive myself? It was a mistake. It was a bad decision.
Adolf, 2 years of not sleeping, sometimes 48 hours, no sleeping. 2 years of insobriety.
Yes. And
it's no support. So at this point, how do you take charge of your life?
that is a difficult one. We thank God, but one way or the other, she's alive, because the narrative I'm hearing is typical of a extreme form of trauma. When you have gone through extreme form of trauma, you disorient, you cannot sleep. There is something we call dissociative disorder. There is a certain reality that attends you, and that reality is painful, and you don't want that reality. So either you live in a state of denial, or you have something to numb your feelings. And that is when drugs and alcohol comes in to help you numb the spirit, so that painful reality.
Did you do a bit of drugs?
Oh, at all.
To help you go through the pain that you're going through. So that is what happens to victims who have gone through extreme form of trauma. One important point I have to make is that, we have our difficulties in relationship. For every human being, you don't have your troubles outside the relationship. All your wahala happens in relationship. And it is also within relationship that you heal. And in as much as you cut off from all relationship, healing becomes difficult. All right? So you need relationship for you to begin to rebuild trust. Because what happens in an abusive relationship, that your sense of trust is completely shattered, which affects your esteem, self-esteem. And also you are really enduring yourself, and to you, I've lost it. I've completely lost it. So what is there again to lose? I'm on a downhill. He who is down here is no fall. So, let me go on. Okay, so that is what happens in this context. But I'm saying that you need a relationship in order to connect the pieces together, in order for a model life to give you. You need support, community support. You need somebody to walk that with you. Extreme form of trauma also bring what we call crisis of faith. You begin to question your faith. Why has God forsaken me? Why would I have to go through this? So it fundamentally shatters everything that you've built for. And I'm not surprised what she's saying. Everything that she's built for her life. One fateful decision just brings everything down. And it's like building from the scratch. But you need help. You need help to build. You need someone to walk the journey with. You need a professional to help you walk the journey. You need a community of support from people you can depend on, trust, from the church, to help you connect. Because you need people to connect. Even because growing up, who we are has been built on the kind of nurturing relationship that we have had from our parents, from very loved ones. And that is what we call attachment, secured attachment. So you can imagine living your life very secured and some terrible thing overwhelming you and grounding you literally.
Right.
You begin to lose all these connections. And recovery means rebuilding this connection with support. But from hearing what I'm hearing, recovery has different phases. Recovery has different phases. Recovery from, because if you're divorcing, you need to do it in the context of law. And so, you need to recover in that area as well. And you have a whole lot of troubles recovering. Access to justice, women, it's a shame in this country. It's a shame in this. I don't want to talk about it. I mean, how on earth, if I may just put it in this way, we have very high, cases of rape in this country, and all that a Minister of Justice and Attorney General will say that I'm not interested in the name of nulli prosequi or what. I am not interested. That is a betrayal of women. Pure and simple. Pure and simple. At least let the trial go
and the perpetrator is going about.
Let the trial go on. Let's see if you are innocent. The court of law will grant you innocent. But a Minister of Justice saying I have the power to decide whether I will prosecute or not prosecute, I am not going to do it. It is a great betrayal of women. I am so incensed by that decision. What have we been fighting for all these years? It's so that people will recover. Nobody deserves to live in an abusive relationship. And you have the state, conniving with perpetrators. State listening to the side of perpetrators. Because what perpetrators want is for you to continue to be invincible. The story never told. The story never told. And if you have state apparatus actually conniving with perpetrators to further suppress and oppress and depress women, then everything is in shambles. Everything. Our justice delivery system as far as women are concerned is completely in shambles. We may have patches here and there, glitters of success, people going through MPC, but on the whole, consider what is happening. So as far as the legal, if you're going to focus on the legal process to heal, we're starting from big time.
Well, you're watching The Standpoint. This program is aired on ABN TV on Sky Channel 235, which is across Western Europe, parts of Canada and Asia. Our website, www.thestandpoint.com.gh, is powered by Dream Over. You go there, you get all the information you need. And please don't forget to, donate 1 Ghana cedi or more. Nita was actually working when she went through the abuse, but look at what happened to her. How much more younger ladies who want to go to school in their teens and they are being abused physically, sexually, emotionally, psychologically, all because they need some money to pay their school fees. Sometimes 200, 300, 150 to pay their school fees or learn a trade or a skill. Please put 1 Ghana cedi or more into the Girl in Need Foundation box, and you'll be saving a life. We take a short break. We'll be back.
She wants someone to she needs a someone to care for her. Save a life today. That's it.
Welcome back to The Standpoint. And Adolf, sometimes you, the survivor, you don't want to call them victims, will be trying your best to heal and put yourself together.
And recovery is not linear. It's not a straight course path 2 steps, 3 steps forward, you can have 5 steps backwards. You can relapse. But relapse in itself is not negative. It tells you how far you have gone in terms of recovery.
Right.
And so if you have people around you to walk you through that journey, it's extremely important, that you have people who can help you walk through that journey. It wouldn't take you that very long to go it alone. If you go it alone, do it alone, it's difficult.
Adam, do you ever recover fully after abuse? Do you ever?
Well, I say yes. It doesn't mean you will not remember. Sometimes we confuse forgiving yourself and forgetting. Fully recovering means you have fully forgiven yourself and the other part.
I think I need to do a one-on-one with you again because just for your story. Well, we take a short break. When we come back, I'll give you a bit of me. I've had a lot of people, some few people say that, oh, you talk about your husband as if he can never hurt you. And my answer to them always is that I'm in love, I'm not mad. Sometimes you do not know our stories. So you think it's the things we just sit here and talk things like that. One day I'll tell you my story, my journey, how it's been like. You see, we all go through some of these challenges, but the most important thing is we put ourselves together and we move on. Sometimes it's just you. You have absolutely nobody to support you. Your siblings may not understand you. Your parents may not understand you. The church, your friends, everybody might even think that you're pushing it too much. You must be mad to be getting out of this situation. But you are the one who is in it. And you know why you had to get out. As Irene said, it's a process. Plan your exit. And when you exit, understand that it's not going to be easy. It's going to be tough. But when you stay the course, you will get there. Seek help. Seek professional help. Sometimes our pastors don't have the answers. Sometimes our friends don't have the answers. You need to seek professional help to be able to put your lives together. Killing yourself will not solve it. Becoming a drunk will not solve it. Taking to drugs will not solve it. Yes, it may give you some reprieve, but it will not solve it. In the end, it has to come to you. There comes to a time when it's just you and your God. If you're a Christian, the Bible says, and David encouraged himself in the Lord. Sometimes it's just you and your God. And you have to gather that inner strength to move on. Others have done it. You can also do it. But most importantly, seek the right help. Preferably the professional help. Thanks for watching. See you same time next week. Bye for now.